Evening guys, Dave Canterbury here in the Pathfinder Yurt at the Pathfinder School. I just fired the stove up again. It's a little bit chilly in here right now. It's probably, I haven't looked at the temperature in here, but the temperature outside is about 18 degrees, so I'm guessing it's probably only, probably 40 in here right now. I did have to add some ambient light on top of the camera. I had to add a light bar on there. Right now, what I'm using for light in here is this grease lamp that's made out of a turtle shell. It's filled with deer tallow. Burns pretty good and bright, and you can see in here pretty good with it to do what you want to do, but doesn't really burn bright enough for me to use to film. So I had to turn on some ambient light for that. I apologize for that. But anyway, getting ready to, I'm living out of this backpack right now in this yurt, so I'm getting ready to change into some nighttime clothing, put my wool long johns on, and then I'll be right back with you. One thing you got to remember when you're in a situation where you're staying out a few days or a few nights or whatever the case may be, socks are something that your feet are so important, your mobility is so important to you that you have to make sure that you change your socks every day, and then at least dry the ones out that you had on that were wet. And if you can't wash them, at least dry them out. But if you can wash them, all the better. And I'm going to show you kind of the way I'm going to wash clothes tomorrow. I actually have a 2.5 gallon bucket over here that has got my cookware and a few dry source food things in there. Some hot chocolate I'm going to fix, things like that. But that'll be emptied out at night because that'll become my latrine. And then I'll dump that out away from the creek. I'm about 5 yards from the creek now on a high area. It's not going to flood out. I'll dump that out, rinse it out every morning. And that'll be, that bucket will be used for a lot of things. That single bucket will be used to not only store, my cookware in. It will also be used to, used for a latrine at night. It'll be used for a wash bucket during the day to wash clothes in. And at night, when I wash down at night, it'll be used for that as well. So it's a very multi-purpose item to have a bucket with you, especially if you've got some type of permanent encampment like this. So I've got my Wool Power Long Johns on now. I'm going to go ahead and put this wool over the top of that, one more layer here while I'm sitting in here, just to keep myself good and warm until it gets nice and toasty in here. Figure a place to set these socks up to dry out. Get this bogging on my head, this beanie right now, to keep my head nice and warm. A lot of your heat escapes from your head, so keep your head covered. It'll keep you a little bit warmer as well. So I'll hang these socks up and get back with you. Like I said, I'm kind of living out of this pack in this 5 gallon bucket and a couple bins underneath my bunk here, for the most part, as far as food and things like that go right now. I got a brand new thing of Land O'Lakes classic chocolate here. I'm definitely a chocolate freak. I'm worse when it comes to chocolate than most women that I know. But I'm going to get my spork out of my pack here. Got a cup of water on the boil. I've got a thing of water on the boil here that's just basically rinse water, for utensils like this, and also for things like steam, so it doesn't get real dry in here from the actual heat source that's in here. So it's always good to have some steam in the air. I've got a titanium cup here. It's about 3/4 full of hot water. It's been sitting on the stove. Get myself some hot chocolate fixed here for the night. Ample amount of hot chocolate. Like I said, I'm a chocolate freak. And I'm going to sit down and do a little bit of tool maintenance, I think, on a few of my knives. Just kind of hone them up a little bit. Pretty good. Simple pleasures are the best ones, guys. I got to tell you. Yep. I think I'm going to break out some stuff here to do some knife honing and maintain my 4 favorite knives. I'll show you those, or 5 favorite knives. I'll show you those here in a minute. A lot of people have asked me about different knives. I generally carry the Pathfinder Scout or the Pathfinder 1, the PLSK 1, but there's a couple other knives I'm pretty fond of too that I carry around once in a while, and I'll show those to you here in a minute. This grease lamp works out pretty dandy. I just filled this thing up with tallow, just a half a turtle shell that was found in the woods. I filled it up with tallow, and I took a hot nail and shoved it down inside the tallow when it was hot and made a cavity. And then I just shoved a reverse wrapped 2-ply wick in there made out of that same hemp material that I made my sling out of, just to kind of test the wick material and how good of a wick that would make, and it's dandy. I mean, it puts off a lot of light. Not enough to film by, but it puts off a lot of light, guys. Well, let's check our fire here and see where we're at with that. Got plenty of logs in there. Looks like he's burning pretty good. Look at that. Man, that's a beauty, isn't it? Beauty. Shove another one in there in a few minutes, just to keep her stoking good. That Snow Trekker tent stove is phenomenal, and it's very similar to the military stove that a lot of people are confusing it with. But this is a brand new manufactured stove. I'm not sure the name of the company that manufactures it for Snow Trekker. Snow Trekker provided this nice medium stove to us at the Pathfinder School for this wiki. So I want to give Snow Trekker Tents all of the kudos for that and send the business their way. But it's a dandy stove, no doubt.